Hello everyone, hope you're all having a lovely day today. So as most of you guys know, I love learning languages. I am really fascinated by it. I'm currently trying to learn Portuguese and Spanish. Portuguese just for fun, and Spanish because I found it to be really useful with work. And so when learning a new language, there are so many different ways that you can do that. And I know if you're not in school, it can be a little bit hard because when you're in school, obviously you have classes that you can go to and stuff like that. And there are some places that do have classes that you can go to do that, but obviously that's not everywhere. And so with learning a new language, there are so many different ways that you can do that. There's books, there's, YouTube channels, there's different, programs that you can get over DVD. And since we have our phones on us 24/7, there are a lot of apps that a lot of people use to learn languages. And today I wanted to talk about a certain app that I feel like has every opinion under the sun about it. And that is none other than Duolingo. #SpanishorVanish. Now, Duolingo, I feel like gets a pretty bad rep with a lot of people in the foreign language community on YouTube. I know there's some people who have discussed that it's a good app, but I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's terrible, it sucks, it's the worst. And I feel like a lot of those opinions are because people aren't using it correctly, if that makes sense, or they're using that app as their only language study tool, period. However, personally, I have found Duolingo to be a very helpful app when learning a new language, especially when it's with other sources. Do I think that Duolingo is an app that if you download it, that's the only thing you need to learn a language? Not in the slightest. However, I think that there are certain ways in which you can use Duolingo to make it a very effective study tool. And I'm going to discuss 5 of those right now. So the first thing I recommend doing is to translate the sentence before you look at the hints on the bottom. So the way that the majority of Duolingo exercises work is that they'll show you a sentence that'll be in your native language or the language that you're learning. And then what you're instructed to do afterwards is to translate it. And normally this is sort of, I don't want to say easy, but since you have the words beneath you, they'll have you pick from the words most of the time when you're first learning, and they'll kind of have you match them up. This isn't all the time. There are activities in which you have to write the sentence yourself, but in a lot of the activities you have word boxes on the bottom. And personally, I recommend translating the sentence before you even look at the words on the bottom. Try to look at the sentence and translate it before you even look at the words on the bottom. Because when you're looking at the words on the bottom, I feel like more often than not, rather than memorizing sentences and sentence structures, you're just matching up words. Because I feel like a lot of the time, and I might not be alone in this, but I feel like a lot of the time in which I will look at the word box and just match them up, I feel like I'm doing more word association rather than actually translating a sentence or a phrase and learning the sentence structure. A lot of the times it's just, oh, match the word with the word. Number 2, read the sentences out loud. With Duolingo, I feel like it's very hard to work on communication and speaking. There are activities in which you do speak into a microphone, but those aren't a lot. And so I feel like with speaking, it's really important to say the sentence out loud so that you're getting used to how to actually form the words and how to get the proper accent. Because if you're just staying silent and just matching words and just doing all exercises without actually speaking, that's a whole part of the language learning process that you're missing out on. Number 3, practice what you've learned on your own. Duolingo is actually very good with introducing you to vocabulary, and I feel like that's one of its strong points, is that you're introduced to so much vocabulary. However, if the only time that you're working on your language is when you're just pulling out your phone and, just doing a few minute exercises in between whatever you're doing day to day, you're not going to really retain a lot of that information. And so what I recommend doing is sort of writing down all the new words that you maybe learned, all the new sentence structures that you maybe learned, and kind of just going over those even outside the app. With learning a new language, I feel like it's a very immersive process. You have to really constantly be using it. I learned French for 7 years, 2 in middle school, 4 in high school, and 1 in college. Wait, is that 7? Yeah, that's 7. Oh my gosh. And I can't speak it anymore because I never used it outside of class. I've only been learning Spanish and Portuguese for maybe a month or so, and I feel like I can speak better Spanish and Portuguese than I can French. And I literally learned that for 7 years. And it's because I was never practicing it. I never used it. So practice, practice, practice. Number 4, take advantage of the stories. One of the really important things with learning a new language, I feel like, is constantly reading. That's a whole nother aspect that you're getting. With Duolingo, a lot of the times it's just kind of small sentences that you're just translating. But reading actual paragraphs and reading conversations, I feel like is really, really, really helpful. So I highly recommend taking advantage of those. It's another way to expose you to new vocabulary in an actual sentence and in a dialogue. And number 5, Take your time. I feel like sometimes with Duolingo, I feel a little bit rushed because there's rankings and you're like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm at least in the top 10 in the Ruby League or whatever league that you're in. But if you're rushing and just matching up words, you're not really thinking of the information and processing it. So while I think it's cool that they have the ranks to provide extra encouragement, I would say don't focus too much on those, rather just focus on actually learning the material and take your time. I know I have a video on my channel where I'm literally like learning Portuguese for 24 hours. I didn't learn it in 24 hours, and I was not expecting to do that because learning a language is something that takes a very long time. There's always something new to learn. So all in all, I think Duolingo is a very helpful app if you're just practicing. I think the fact that it's portable, in between, doing groceries or waiting online for something, you can just kind of just whip it out and do a small exercise. It usually only takes about 2 minutes. However, I don't think that Duolingo should be your only tool for learning a new language. There are a ton of other ways that I've found to be really helpful when learning a new language. I highly recommend using other sources in addition to Duolingo when learning a new language. For example, you can watch YouTubers who are speaking the language that you want to learn. There's shows on Netflix that you can watch. You can find a book or literature in the language that you want to learn. You can try speaking with other people. I unfortunately don't know any native Spanish speakers or Portuguese speakers, so unfortunately that's not something I'm doing right now. But if you know people who speak Spanish or Portuguese or whatever language that you're trying to learn, I would say definitely maybe practice with them if you have friends. And yeah, so I really hope you guys liked today's video. It wasn't really anything about faith, but if you still have any comments, questions, concerns, or prayer requests, totally don't hesitate to leave me a comment down below or shoot me an email at my email that is down here below. Also, I have an Instagram. Feel free to follow me on that just for funsies. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and hit the subscribe button. And as always, have a lovely rest of your day and God bless.